Look, I get the point that you're trying to make here. You're trying to, show something that is gross, disgusting, like you say, and, compare that to the now apparent Nazi problem we have in Ohio. But still, fucking weird, gross. Don't do that. Just don't do that. You could have just as well just said neo-Nazis are fucking disgusting and they're spreading. You don't really need to add some fancy fucking comparison to this, right? You can just outright say Nazis bad, spreading bad. Jesus Christ.
All the commentary channels, they're all doing their tour of iDubbbz is a sellout, it's lame. And Charlie did the light version of that where he's like, I don't think it was that bad. I think it's totally fine to say the N-word.
Oh, god damn it, Ethan. We can't even go 30 seconds of the fucking video without you spewing absolute fucking bullshit. You lying sack of fucking shit. God damn. Fuck. No, not once in his video did he ever say that. Did you even... That's how I know you didn't watch the video. That's how I know you didn't watch it. Because he actually straight up says he completely understands how iDubbbz can look back at his old content and cringe at him using fucking slurs and shit, right? He said he completely gets why he regrets that and looks back at it with a pretty negative light, right? He actually says he's in agreement with him there. There's a lot of other things that he goes on to talk about in the video where he doesn't agree with iDubbbz. But the racial slur thing, that is literally the main thing that they fucking agreed on, you absolute fucking idiot.
That's not what he said.
It's not what he said.
But in a sense, it is what he was saying.
But
because he's like...
That's the problem, though, when you're not clear, though, about that. When you're like, well, those videos weren't that bad. Okay, so let me interpret. What do you mean by that? You mean that what he did wasn't wrong?
Right.
You mean that I can say it?
Yeah.
It's like you can't leave that room when on topics like this.
Holy fuck, the level of mental gymnastics that you have to go through to actually get to that decision is insane to me, right? So because people don't openly stand on their platform and say that they are not in support of racism, then they're leaving room for people to sit there and twist their fucking words and twist their content into being, oh, it's actually okay to be racist. What? No. Holy fuck, that's not even what Charlie said. Charlie openly said he agrees and understands the position of saying that you just shouldn't say racial slurs or racial jokes or anything like that. He understands that point, that perspective. He never once argued against it. The main thing Charlie talks about, actually, if you even watch the fucking video, which you so clearly have not, is that Charlie doesn't agree with completely bastardizing all of his audience and the fucking content that he used to make just because of some edgy shit that he did back in 2016, right? He understands that, yes, he might look back on it and cringe and think that it was bad, but not all of the content, not every single second of all of iDubbbz's videos was bad. Not every single member of his community was this massive racist and a horrible human being. That's what he's talking about. He never once says, oh yeah, you can totally say the N-word. For fuck's sakes.
That's right. Charlie goes, it's not that bad. You didn't need to apologize. And it seems like he even meant by today's standard, it's fine. I think Charlie was just still trying to say Ian was just being too hard on himself.
Well,
I think at certain points he was being too hard on himself, but I think Charlie was trying to toss a bone to the haters. I really do. That's the way I saw it. Because he's got to hedge his bets. I just think he just tossing a bone. I don't know what to tell you guys. That's my opinion.
Oh, the fucking irony of that statement coming from you, Ethan. You, oh dear. Yes, he was totally just trying to hedge his bets. The man who has been known on the platform for taking controversial topics and just throwing his fucking 2 cents into it without care. I don't think Charlie actually gives a fuck what anybody else thinks. I think as long as he is confident he is in the moral right and his own opinion, as long as he believes that he's, doing what he thinks is good, I don't think he gives a fuck. I don't think he's gonna sit here and try and toss bones to the fucking people that iDubbbz was saying are awful human beings, right? That's not what was fucking happening. I would almost guarantee it, because I don't think Charlie cares. Like, what? The mental gymnastics that you have to fucking do. Meanwhile, on your own fucking show, you have gone from, let's just talk like Jordan Peterson, right? You've had Jordan Peterson on, what, 2 or 3 times in the past in the show, and now here recently, all you do is run him into the ground. Not even going to bother talking about the fact that you had him on the show before, right? You don't want to mention that. You are the epitome of somebody who will just completely change who they are, their opinions, and how they present themselves for views. You have absolutely no pride in yourself. You have no actual opinions that I have been able to find. Your only opinion is what makes you the most money in terms of views. That's all you are, Ethan. So let's not try and throw stones at glass houses, yeah?
There was a larger audience that iDubbbz was apologizing to. Like, yeah, maybe he was too hard on himself at some points, you could say that, but the apology wasn't just meant for you. There was a lot bigger of a community that he was apologizing to.
Well, I think it's funny too that Charlie goes, "You didn't need to apologize," as if he's the representative of like all black people who
Right.
felt the consequence of a bunch of
He's the
kids.
spokesman.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're not
You're
the
not who the
target,
apology
the
is
recipient of
for.
this.
Yeah,
like,
right,
Exactly.
exactly.
just
I can genuinely feel myself losing brain cells the more I watch any of your content, Ethan. So, in your world, Charlie was speaking for all fucking black people. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Ethan? No, he was just giving his opinion. Charlie was just saying what he thought. That isn't that big of a fucking controversial idea, right? That's literally what you do, supposedly, is give your opinions on different matters that come up in the world and on the internet. But yet when Charlie does the same, because he didn't outright say, racism bad. He's somehow a bad human being. You daft fucking cunt. God, I can't fucking stand you. No, all right? No. He doesn't have to sit there and basically outright say racism is bad. And yes, he is allowed to speak on his opinion and say that he doesn't believe that iDubbbz really needed to be like apologetic for a lot of the things that he was apologizing for. Again, he actually said he completely understands iDubbbz regretting all of the racial slurs and shit and the racism that was in his content. He completely understands that aspect of why he cringes when he looks back on his old content. However, he said that he doesn't believe an apology is needed for all the other things. He doesn't, specifically like content cops, which is something iDubbbz directly talks about, is the content cops. That's one of the main key moments of this video that he addresses. It's about the content cops. That, I think, is exactly what Charlie is talking about. He doesn't believe that he caused anybody harm or hurt over the content cops. He doesn't believe that iDubbbz went too far in things like the video on fucking Leafy, where he made fun of Leafy because that's all fucking Leafy did was make fun of other people, right? That's what he's talking about. He doesn't believe that anybody is owed an apology because of those types of videos, okay? For fuck's sakes, Ethan, do you even watch the content you are responding to, that you were trying to fucking criticize? Because if you did, you would know that this isn't even remotely close to the fucking truth.
So, and of course, this is all stuff I've done, right? I don't want to make any mistakes about it. I've done all this dumb shit, all this racist, sexist, fucking horrible
You also
shit.
had the reckoning
That's
that Ian is going through right now.
I've had the reckoning.
Will come.
It's painful, and frankly, there's nothing really to gain from it other than personal growth.
This all coming from the man who, still to this day, in very, 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 very recent videos, his main go-to comeback is, "You gay, bro? Are you gay? That's pretty gay, man." Like, really? You personal growth? All you've done is go from using like racial slurs to now being like slightly homophobic. Wow, miles of fucking growth, Ethan. I'm so fucking proud of you. I'm so glad that you are now the hierarchy that we should look to for morals.
The reckoning we went through was one of the worst times of my life, psychologically.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was so painful. And it was like I was in like just a mental,
Lowest of the
it
low.
was just a battleground in my mind. Yeah, just low times. But when you come through on the other end, you know who you are, and your fans know who you are. And now I've never been more honest. I've never been more authentic. And the fans that watch, they like me for who I am,
Right.
who I really am. And I can say what the fuck I mean always. And I don't have to do what like Charlie and Boogie's doing, where I don't have to like say it all the way.
You have to cater to
Yeah.
some people, so you got to worry about how you phrase yourself.
100%, exactly.
Ethan, you may actually have the same level or lower than Keemstar in terms of self-awareness, right? You have just an insane ability to not understand how close you are to seeing that none of that is actually, like, you are making all these statements, the reverse statements of what I have been saying about you. You do care about what everybody thinks of you. You do fence sit like crazy. Just you fence sit on the liberal side. You just don't have any actual opinions that are your own. So don't act like you can sit there and be yourself, because you don't know who the fuck you are, even though you say that after this big fucking adventure you went on, after realizing your content was quote unquote fucking toxic and everything else, right? You act like, oh, you really find out who you are afterwards. Do you really, Ethan? Because I don't know who the fuck you are. I've watched your content for fucking years on and off, and I still don't know who the fuck you are or any of the actual opinions you hold. They change like the fucking weather, and not in a good way either. You don't grow and advance your opinions. Your only opinions are that of what is popular on Twitter. That is it. Fucking done. Period. That is all your opinions amount up to. And then you sit there and you moral grandstand like you are somehow better than other people because I can say what I want and the fans know who I am. No, they fucking don't. If I looked at your fucking analytics, I would almost guarantee that you are losing numbers by the fucking day. I have seen more and more people criticizing you than I have in a very long fucking time. So, and again, I don't really pay attention to your analytics. I don't pay attention to your views or your subscriber count, and I'm not going to bother to look into it because I don't care that much, right? That is just a good measurement of, you know, trying to defeat that point that you just tried to make, but I don't care that much. I would rather sit here and tell you how fucking obvious it is that you are incapable of forming your own opinions because you are so fucking worried that it might come back and bite you in the ass someday, or you are so fucking worried that you may offend someone that you sit there and you sit on the fence of the liberal political view right now and sit there and wait for people to decide on Twitter what the proper opinion is, and then you go with that. That is what you do, Ethan. Stop trying to fucking lie. It's blatantly obvious.
And so, like, the first time that we got like massively fucked is when I dared to criticize PewDiePie for the N-word thing. That was like such a shitstorm.
People were mad about that.
It's the nuclear word.
Such a shitstorm. That was kind of like the whole spiral down into that. But you know,
part of that shitstorm was because that you criticized him before that reckoning had really taken place. And it kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but that sort of was the beginning of you sort of trying to reanalyze like who is in my audience, who am I catering to, who am I making content for? And because, you know, your past racist remarks and stuff like that, that was the criticism, is like, oh, you do this.
Why do I get the feeling that you didn't actually face that much backlash on that topic? I really doubt it. All right. Most reasonable people would sit here and be like, oh, yeah, PewDiePie, especially in context, the usage of it. Like, yeah, wow, that's, yikes. Shouldn't fucking do that. Not really excusable. But hey, that doesn't make him like an awful fucking human being. He said a fucking gamer word, right? We've all heard a million other fucking people say it. Especially older people like us that have grown up on fucking Call of Duty lobbies, right? We have heard it plenty, I guarantee you. And especially in that fucking game, actually, because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, he was playing PUBG. The amount of fucking wild shit I would hear in that lobby waiting for the fucking 1 minute to drop in on PUBG was insane. It was, honestly, it might have been worse than Call of Duty lobbies. Fuck. But yes, most people with any common sense would agree PewDiePie was in the wrong for it. He openly said, I am in the wrong for it. He apologized for it. That has nothing to do with his content. That's not something he normally does. However, that was something that you did normally partake in because of shock fucking value to your content, right? There's big difference. Am I right? You know, that's probably why people criticize you, not because you used that, but because you are so willing to jump on somebody else who uses it. Again, I can see the difference in the scenarios, though. I wouldn't say that they're on the same level. I would say PewDiePie's is actually worse because he was just outright using it in a moment of anger, whereas you were using it, and like iDubbbz was using it, as shock value. Two very different. You see how context fucking matters? It's very important. But again, I don't think you got nearly the backlash that you fucking think you did. I think there's probably a very loud minority of people who are super fucking offended that you had any opinion on PewDiePie using it, especially because of the content that you made. A very, very small, minute amount of people that were very loud on your social medias, and you had a fucking moral crisis in your midlife crisis because of that. And then you had to ultimately change your content, which, by the way, really didn't change all that much at all, honestly.
It's
You know
hard,
what I mean?
it's yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's fair, right?
Right,
That was
because-
fair at the time.
Yeah, because you start to think like, oh, but the context was different.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you go, well, I'm not racist, but then you think and you're like, but you can do racist things, you can say racist things, and it doesn't necessarily make you a hateful racist person. But
But it's
let's
still,
just be honest,
they're
it's hard.
rooted in racism.
It's hard to be honest with yourself with something like that. It's painful. But the truth is that when I criticized PewDiePie, and I did think it was wrong what he did, and I was being authentic to myself, everybody was like, well, you said it, so who the fuck are you? Nobody was mad that I said the N-word. They were mad that I criticized
yeah.
PewDiePie.
Right.
Wow, imagine that. People were more offended at the fact that you're a massive fucking hypocrite. It's almost like I've been saying that for a long time now. Oh well. But yes, people were angry with you at the fact that you are a massive hypocrite and you're trying to attack PewDiePie for using a word that you so often would throw in on your videos. I admit, though, those people are in the wrong because there's a very big difference. There's context to the situation, right? He used it in a fit of anger. You use it for shock humor. Both can be bad, but still one is worse. Okay? You and iDubbbz using it in shock humor. Yeah, it's bad. I wouldn't do it myself, and I don't really find that type of thing funny. But it is not nearly as bad as outright just saying it in a fit of anger because that's just the word that comes to your mind.
Yeah, at first my reaction was to be defensive, right? But then over time, you let the walls down and you let the truth in. So yeah, he's dealing with the reckoning and the same he has the fallen fans that I have now. You know what I mean? And I just feel bad because for them too. I mean, it's growth is good, maturation is good.
Yeah.
Who can really tell me like, oh, maturing means saying the N-word more? like who's gonna make that argument?
Fuck it. I'll play devil's advocate. I don't really give a fuck. So, yeah, I could actually see a way in which that could be considered growing up, and that would be like doubling down on your beliefs and your views. That is a sign of being mature, regardless of how your views are, whether they're right or wrong. Having a firm belief in your views is something that somebody who is more mature has. See, that wasn't even that fucking hard. Jesus Christ, you just make fucking really idiotic statements. But yes, somebody in their younger years, like a teenager, they have views, but they're not very strong, right? They are definitely going to change substantially over time. Like, say somebody in at the age of 16. They're going to have substantially different views when they hit 26. So in a decade, their views will change tremendously. However, a more mature person who has already had their views tested and have doubled down on what they view as right, say like 32 years old, and your views are what your views are, and you refuse to have them change a lot without like a very, very substantial amount of evidence, that would be a good indication of maturity. That wasn't even hard, man. Like, come on. You're just tossing softballs in. I know what you actually meant. What you actually meant is that it's just immature to use, racial slurs for shock humor. Yeah, it is immature and juvenile to use racial slurs for shock humor. That's not a very bold and brave statement to make there, Ethan. And that isn't really gonna make any controversy for you. Like, what's even the point? And let's not forget that there is an idea out there that the usage of words like this and taking away their meaning and, kind of just removing the sting out of them will make it so that it's not really important anymore. Like, these words will just kind of fall from the vocabulary because they won't really have any place anymore. There is a substantial amount of people who actually believe this, myself partially included. I do believe that is something that could happen. Like, imagine a world in which you walk up and call somebody a racial slur and they just turn and laugh at you like you're pathetic and they just walk away. Imagine being like a KKK member and you walk up to a black person and call them the N-word and they just go, ha, moron, and then walk off. Your fucking life was just defeated. Like, holy shit. I genuinely want to see that day. That would be the funniest fucking thing, in my opinion, to watch these fucking racists just be completely devastated because their words and hatred have no effect on anybody anymore. I think that is probably the best outcome that we could hope for. So maybe there is a world in which these words get used more, and it actually is for the better. I don't know. That's for people who are much smarter than I am to figure the fuck out.
So let me pull up this Charlie video. Or actually, no, I don't need to pull up the Charlie video. But I just wanted to say that he's like the biggest voice in the commentary community right now. So what he says is consequential. And his take, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, to kind of try to distill it, was that he doesn't think the content was that bad and he didn't need to apologize.
He does qualify it by saying he puts it in the time frame of like, it's 2016, everybody was making content like that, and he even says you can feel like it wasn't okay then, and that's a separate conversation, and you can feel that way. But the vast majority of people watching YouTube didn't have a problem with it back then, and iDub says it went beyond being edgy, it was cruel, and Charlie disagrees with that. He doesn't really think it was cruel. And
or
he doesn't
problematic,
really need to apologize,
which is weird.
It always astounds me how much you can just directly lie to your audience, Ethan. Even though earlier in the video you literally said that you can just be yourself and have your opinions as your opinions and not give a fuck what anybody thinks or says because your audience knows who you are. Really? Well, then why do you continuously fucking lie to them? Because you know what you're insinuating right now? We all know what you're insinuating right now. So don't try and play dumb, all right? We know you're trying to insinuate still about the racism factor, about the racial slurs, about the homophobic slurs, right? We know that you're still talking about that. Now, does Charlie mention these? Yes, he does. And that is kind of where he draws the line and says, hey, these are the things that are like, I completely understand that you completely regret these and these were bad. Okay, fine. That's fine. But what he's actually talking about when you're quoting him here, basically, and you're saying that, in 2016, people were making content like this, blah, 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 blah. He's not talking specifically about the racial slurs anymore. He's actually gone on to the content cop, about the actual content within that, other than the fucking racial slurs and shit. For fuck's sakes. And yes, that type of shit did happen in 2016. It was a much wilder fucking YouTube. And I don't agree that there is necessarily needed an apology. I don't think that iDubbbz really caused any much more fucking hatred or drama within people because of his videos. I think if anything, everybody knew that his content was mostly for entertainment. This wasn't like a political fucking stance that he had that, like, you know, he was a fucking grand wizard in the clan, okay? Fuck, you act like context doesn't in any way matter. Meanwhile, you completely take Charlie out of fucking context, so clearly it doesn't fucking matter. Fuck it. We'll just make shit up on the fly now, right?
I mean, the thing is that Ian knows best what the reaction was to his videos. So if he says that it was cruel and bad, this is based on his behavior or his interaction with people, his experience. He's the one that's going to know best.
Yeah.
I think he did think it was problematic. It was just, I don't think it was his place to talk about the degree at which it was problematic or the degree at which the apology, you know, it wasn't meant for him, like I said.
Guys, this.
And frankly, I mean,
I was about to break into my crit.
I frankly disagree that with him saying it wasn't cruel. I mean, at least in the example of the Tana one. I mean,
That was the point.
right.
That was the point. It was cruel.
Ah, god damn it, I can't find the original reactions that you had to that video, but I am like 85% sure that you did a reaction to it, or at least talked about it, and was just, you loved it. You thought it was fucking hilarious and she got what she deserved. Let's not sit here and act like she was just this amazing human being, okay? And cruel, really? Somebody criticizing you is cruel? Somebody showing your flaws is paramount to being cruel? Like, for fuck's sakes, if that's what cruelty is now, so then you're being cruel to like racists. Like this big thing that you're making a whole video on. You're being cruel to Charlie here because you're showing his apparent flaws. Like, what the fuck is your logic here? I don't think in any way that video was like really cruel. Maybe I'll have to go back and rewatch the entirety of it. I mean, I jumped around on it some and hit some of the most replayed moments, and I didn't see anything that was cruel. I saw iDubbbz calling her out for the things that she has done and the things that she was currently doing, and questioning her character based on those things. If that is something we are no longer capable of doing, then we may as well just pack it up. We're done as a human race, because we're not going to move forward anymore if we can't look at things and criticize them.
Yeah, I mean, she was a young girl, and this was this guy in his mid to late 20s, and what he did to her was pretty fucked up. And I think acknowledging that and apologizing for it is totally fine and within
It's
his
cool,
rights.
yeah. And Tana's a good person. She's not, you know, I mean, like we've all done dumb shit. So
Yeah.
you know, she was so young at the time. I mean, she's so young.
It's hard to forget how young she
18?
was.
Was she probably 18 at the time of his content cop?
Maybe even younger.
And she just made like one tweet at him about how I don't like your use of the N-word, and then he turned it into this whole odyssey about fucking ruining her life. And at the time, we all thought it was funny and awesome and shit. But like, yeah, I think it's cool that he's apologized to her. And clearly, her reaction on Twitter shows how much it did affect her.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you're telling me that somebody criticizing the things that she does, says, and the opinions that she holds just rattled her to her core. Fuck, dude. Like, this is why I can't stand you, Ethan. Like, I know that Tana is actually one of your friends, so that's why you're actually, you know, acting like this was such a traumatic experience for her. But when you actually look through the content cop and you rewatch the whole video, like I just had to fucking do, just to make sure that maybe I was misremembering how the video fucking went. But it's actually one of the more mundane and relaxed content cops. It was actually just, he broke down, hey, this word, real bad. All these others, not so much. Kind of dumb that we do that. Blah, blah, blah. Tana's kind of an idiot. You know, she over-exaggerated the entire story of, like, what actually happened several times. He breaks those down. At no point, he doesn't even really, like, go at her very much. Like, it's such a mundane content cop. So if this one was cruel, God, I can't imagine what you think about the fucking Rice Gum one, or Leafy, or the Keemstar, or any of the other fucking content cops, where he goes after those people and puts them under a microscope far worse than Tana. So if this is what your definition of cruel is, I'm very concerned. Like, you've been cruel all fucking your entire podcast, then, haven't you? Like, that's the logic that you're using here. I'd almost guarantee you it's because it's a female. And also the whole, she was like 18 when it happened. I don't care. I don't care. If you are 18, 19, 20 years old and you put your opinions out there in the public space for people to hear, then you are subject to criticism. I don't give a fuck. All right? I don't think that it's cruel to sit here and criticize someone's opinions because of their age. That doesn't fucking matter. Obviously, there's a different tact that you would use when approaching somebody who's like let's say a fucking 14-year-old having an opinion, right? That's a whole different ballpark. You're not going to walk up to a 14-year-old and be like, oh, you're a fucking idiot because you hold whatever fucking opinion. No, but a 20-year-old and they have some wild-ass fucking opinion, you're going to go, yeah, you're fucking stupid. And I'm not going to see anything wrong with that. I don't really think that that's like some massive fucking issue. That's not something that's fucking cruel. We shouldn't be calling the fucking police on this person. Stop acting like this was such a fucking monumental experience in her fucking life that was so goddamn traumatic. It wasn't.
She told us when she came on the show. I mean, you could tell that she was. It fucked her up, that whole thing.
Yeah. Dude, she was on the receiving end of so much fucking hate. You can't even imagine. Because I don't know how many views that video had, but tens of millions, certainly.
Yeah.
So,
as a teenage girl, it's like, damn.
Yeah.
That's rough.
She was 19, I believe, at the time.
Once again, don't give a fuck about the age. If she was 19, well, guess what? You are 19. You are a public figure that is openly putting your ideas into the public sphere. You are completely valid to criticize, to be criticized. I don't give a fuck how old you are. I don't give a fuck what your gender is. I don't give a fuck about any of that bullshit. Stop trying to hide behind that, Ethan. Stop trying to act like that just makes it so much fucking worse. Are you going to sit there and you're going to defend Keemstar? No? Are you going to defend Leafy? No? How about fucking Rice Gum? Anybody else to contact cops or over? No? Then shut the fuck up. Now, as for the whole getting a bunch of hate from the fans of iDubbbz or from the people who watch that video, again, don't care. You are a public figure. You are bound to get hate on the internet. Guess what? It's the fucking internet. We all have to cope with that. Every single fucking content creator that has any type of following, that makes any type of video that will have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views is going to get critique, and they're going to get hate from people on the fucking internet. It's just how it is. That's just something we have to be able to accept as people who make things and put them into the public sphere, especially on places like YouTube and Twitter. They are constantly under the scrutiny of everyone who uses those platforms. It's just how life is, okay? And no content creator is responsible for if you make a video, it blows up, and you're criticizing somebody. Nobody is responsible just because that video blew up that you get hate from it. That is not on anyone but yourself and the people that are doing it. There is plenty of people who take it way too fucking far, but I'm sure a lot of the quote-unquote hate you're trying to fucking act like she got was probably people like, hey, you're kind of a bad person. And that was about it, right? I'm sure you're over-exaggerating and being super hyperbolic with how much that fucking hatred of her got, into her head. But no content creator is responsible for that. You cannot, I can sit here all day. My fucking disclaimer at the start of the video specifically says anybody who watches my videos not to go after the person that I am criticizing, because I don't support that shit. But guess what? If somebody goes from my fucking channel and decides to fucking go write fucking threats to somebody on fucking Twitter or some shit, I can't fucking control that. I am only in control of myself. I cannot physically stop other human beings from doing crazy ass fucking shit. All right? Not on me. And it wasn't on iDubbbz either.
yeah, she's still so young. It's crazy. But I think it's great and valid, But there it is. Guys, this was about as offensive as a hot dog with just mustard and no ketchup. I mean, it was pretty offensive, but not that offensive. You could still eat the hot dog. You don't need to return it or throw it out. It was like that.
I actually just physically cringed from that bit there, Ethan. Holy fuck. The only laugh that you even get is the fucking pity laugh from your own wife. Oh, God, that was fucking dumb. Why did you even include... Who was the editor for you guys? Who left that fucking bit in there? What the fuck? Jesus. But again, you want to take, what was said in the video that Charlie released and completely fucking misrepresent what was said, again, because that's what fits your narrative. Next, you're gonna be painting Charlie as like some fucking white supremacist, like fucking neo-Nazi, and his channel is his entire channel is actually just one massive dog whistle to all other neo-Nazis that he is on their side. You're just fucking ridiculous, Ethan.
That being said, he is my boy because I met him, and that's all that I need to.
Oh, you guys are dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You guys are like best friends,
That's it,
basically.
yeah.
You met him that one time.
Mm-hmm. I'll name
This-
drop that for the
this-
rest of my life.
This comment is exactly how I feel. Peanut Butter and Fika said, Charlie makes the same mistake Ian is trying to apologize for. Consideration of people on the receiving end of Ian's views. He's worrying about the fans' reaction to his reaction.
Right.
Yes.
You know, guys, today I'm going to talk about Ian's apology, which is about as spot on as when I take a shit on the wall at a bullseye and it triples down onto another little rat trap, and then the rat comes and tries to eat the feces. Anyone else? You got a good one, Dan.
Wow, that was just so very funny. Notice the entire room is just shitting themselves laughing at that fucking bit that you just did, Ethan. Just look at it. Literally, the only laugh that is done is by your wife, who was actually just laughing at the fart noise, I assume, because that's when she laughed, was when the fart noise played from the dude who's working the soundboard. So, yeah. Yikes. Not even was it like, it wasn't even like a funny bit, but it was just not even like remotely accurate in trying to mimic Charlie and like his little fucking weird ass rants that he goes on, which by the way are kind of like iconic for his character, I guess. Like that's kind of like what his like biggest personality trait is that this weird fucking rants he goes on, which are usually pretty fucking funny, by the way. So I don't know why you're trying to go after that. It's probably not the best thing to go after him for, but okay.
I will never apologize for any of my content.
my God,
I would
that's kinda
seriously
good.
rather take
it's really
a
good.
pipe cleaner and instead of it being
If
nice
I'm not
little
looking at
soft
you-
bristles, it would be like razor wire, and I would take that pipe cleaner, I'd stick it up my nose and scrape
really
the
sounds
inside of my
like him.
nostril so hard that
good.
it combines into one nostril, just like a cokehead, and then it's just bleeding, and I'm just breathing in and out blood nonstop. Sorry if I interrupted you, Eva. Once I get going on those.
Today, guys, I'm going to watch Ian's apology, which is about as pleasant as a cactus being shoved up my ass. And then I paint a picture with the blood coming from my anus and call it art. Let's see.
Look at the absolute look of disgust that she gives you as she gets up and leaves because your joke was so unfunny. Fucking Jesus. I'm sure that is, not actually what happened. She probably had, I don't know, go somewhere to do something. I don't fucking know. But still, kind of funny how you make this horrible fucking bit and then she gets up and leaves. Like, the timing on that is actually the funniest part out of all of that, like 3 minutes of bits that you guys all just did, which were just fucking awful. Fuck.
Have I fully flushed this out? I don't want to leave anything unsaid.
One thing Charlie was saying in his video that I agree with to an extent is that I hope he feels like he can just move on and start making the content that he wants to make now. Because that was one aspect of what Charlie was saying when he was saying, oh, he doesn't need to apologize. If you want to make different content, that's great, and go ahead and just do it, but you don't need to apologize for your old content. I don't agree with that half of it.
Well, he
but-
doesn't need to apologize, but like he wants to.
Right, I get it.
Because he's going through something important for his. It's like it's so. Okay, whatever.
Right.
Wow, we are now at the fucking end of the video, and you have now agreed with Charlie that the apology wasn't actually necessary and that he could have just continued to make content that he wanted to make now, and they didn't need to come out and make a direct apology to anybody or, try and point out that his content was so fucking awful and flawed, in his earlier fucking stages of his career back in, 2016. So what, now, are you racist too? Because, that's what you were literally just saying 8 minutes ago, that Charlie's basically racist because he's saying that iDubbbz didn't actually have to apologize. I don't understand your fucking logic here, Ethan. No, he didn't have to apologize, and yes, I get that he wants to. the main point of Charlie's video is saying that he doesn't feel that it was necessary. He doesn't think that his overall content, specifically the content cops, were so awful that it should fucking haunt iDubbbz for the rest of his life. He thinks that if he wants to go on and make different types of content, then more fucking power to him, and he hopes all the best in the future. And you've somehow twisted this into Charlie is basically a fucking racist, and I am just blown away with the mental gymnastics that you were actually capable of accomplishing.
But I do hope that Ian feels that, he can actually
But
he can stop addressing it.
He's
all
done.
The haters. Like
Yeah, he's
I hope
done.
he can just be done with those people and just understand he's not going to win them back over, and that's fine.
Yeah, he's done. He can move on now. It's funny because Ian's content before all the edgy shit, he was like, people loved his stuff where it was just like gross food reviews. And there was nothing problematic about that stuff.
Yeah.
Sewer pickles. I did one with him about the chicken. And we did one about like, I forget what it was, where we were wrestling and shit. It's been so long. But there it is.
And that's the fucking end of the video. So we've gone from essentially Charlie is just this massive racist because he didn't outright say that racism bad to we actually agree with Charlie that iDubbbz didn't actually need to apologize, that he could have just continued to make the content that he was making without an apology and it would have been just fine. Yeah, this whole video fucking hurts my brain. Like, my head, I actually have a massive headache after this stupidity. But yes, in conclusion, no, I don't believe Charlie is a fucking racist. I don't believe... Honestly, out of all the content I've watched out of Charlie, I don't think that man's actually capable of really hating anyone or anything. He's got to be one of the chillest motherfuckers I've ever seen on the fucking platform or in content creation in general. Like, he just doesn't really care about much of anything. And he's just genuinely entertaining. So I think, if anything, this is really just Ehtan trying to, get some views, get some of that audience from Charlie to prop up his numbers a little bit more, because he doesn't even really have like a hard stance or actual opinion on any of this, right? He just he completely backpedals on his opinion at the very end of the fucking video. So I don't understand. Either Charlie's racist or he's not. Ehtan, at least like pick an opinion and like fucking actually like hammer it home and stay with it. Don't just fucking backpedal at the last fucking 1 minute of your video and be like, oh well, yeah, I agree, he didn't have to apologize, I guess. Like, in conclusion, Charlie isn't racist. iDubbbz didn't need to apologize because he didn't make cruel content. The content cop on Tana was not cruel, and it is not iDubbbz's fault if other people that watched the content then went on and harassed her. It is an unfortunate byproduct of us being in content creation and being in the public sphere. All right, that's what it is. And I don't think that like iDubbbz needed to apologize myself personally, because I don't think he really did a whole lot of anything like too fucking drastically wrong, right? He had some opinions that he wanted to express with people on YouTube. He did that. He's moved on from them. He apparently no longer holds those opinions, and he has quote unquote grown up from them, and now he's doing something completely different. And I just don't care. I don't even really consume iDubbbz's content anyway. Honestly, does he really even make content these days? But regardless, I think this is a very, very hyperbolic sense of what Charlie's video actually said. And I think you know that, Ehtan. I think you're just, like I said, doing this for clicks, doing this for views. But I just felt like it was important to just kind of expose what it is you're trying to do and try to paint Charlie as some type of racist, or this is some type of like dog whistle to other people, or like he's too scared to call out races and be like, hey, you're fucking awful human beings, when in reality I'm pretty sure Charlie's done that on several fucking occasions. He has absolutely no problem calling out bullshit when he sees it from any other content that I've ever seen from him. So I don't know why you think that he would suddenly be too scared to do it now. I think that this is just a publicity stunt. I think you are itching for a new fight. I think you know that your channel's most likely dying. Again, I'm not going to bother with your analytics, but I think that's what's going on, because you also just went after some other YouTube channel. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you with your stream with Hassan was like, oh, we can go to war with some fucking other YouTube channel. I think that's what you're trying to do here. You're just trying to stir the pot so that you can get a little more publicity and a little more viewership, because I don't think you are holding the same numbers that you used to. But I guess we'll see. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this video, and as always, the link to the original video, my link to the Discord, my community Discord, and my Twitter link will all be in the description. So go ahead, jump in the Discord. I openly encourage anybody, even if you don't agree with me or you want to debate against the things that I say in any of my videos, you are more than willing to jump into the Discord and jump into a chat and we can talk. I don't care. And follow me on Twitter because I like to shitpost random things. So hopefully everyone enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one.